Hello, and welcome to the Quiet and Strong podcast, especially for introverts. I'm your host, David Hall, and the creator of quietandstrong.com. This is a weekly podcast dedicated to understanding the strengths and needs of introverts. Introversion is not something to fix, but to be embraced. Normally, we'll air each episode on a Monday. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform. So, after almost 500 days since I got the word that the office was going fully remote, last week I spent a couple of days in the office. So at this time, I'm returning in the hybrid model, meaning a couple days in the office and a couple days working from home. I think this will be the new model for many of us. And I know this doesn't apply to everyone. Some of you have jobs that just don't allow for remote work. And some of you have always worked remotely and plan to keep it that way. I do like the idea of a hybrid approach, and I hope I get to stick with that for the future. So what does this mean for an introvert? So let's start with my experience in the office last week and the past 500 days, and then talk about introvert needs, whether working from home or in the office. First, here's my complaints. So when I was going into work, it was annoying to actually have to set an alarm to make sure I got up in plenty of time to put everything together, be fully ready, and make it to work on time. For the past 500 days, I didn't need to set an alarm. I always woke up naturally and in plenty of time to walk down the hall to be at work on time. I didn't need to make sure I had all the food and drinks prepared for the day. I didn't need to pack other things such as my phone charger or laptop or other things I might need while I was at work for the day and several miles from home. For the longest time, this was just part of every day. This is just something you had to do. But now it's a little bit annoying to have to pack up. And of course, it was nice to save time and money for the commute. Gas prices are rising again. I saved a ton of money and time in the last 500 days. There was more time for my immediate family, more time for projects outside of work, such as this podcast, and more time to recharge. However, I will say that the time spent driving this past week was a good recharge time for me. I knew this was the case, but I got to experience it again this past week. Traffic was great too, because I think many are working from home and many like me are in the hybrid model. So during the past 500 days, I did try and simulate the same commute time or experience, the quiet time, by taking some quiet time in my room right after work. It mostly worked, but there was still plenty of noise and distractions at home. But at the same time, it just confirmed again for me that, after work, I do need to set aside some time to separate and recharge from the day at work's activities, whether that's in the office or at home. And I didn't do this all the time, but sometimes I did find myself needing to take a short drive to get out of the house during this past year or so, just to get out and see the sky and have that alone time. It always felt great when I did that. Now, the commute is not a reason to go back to work, as hopefully you can find that solitude in other ways. I do know that prior to March 2020, that the commute was just part of my introvert recharge strategy, whether I fully knew that or not. But it's important to find that recharge time after work, whether coming from the office or working from home. It was nice to be at my desk at work. My desk at work is a bit better than what I have at home. How does your physical environment compare? Some of you may have a great physical environment at home. Maybe that was always the case, or maybe you were able to invest a little in your environment this past year. I know that's not the case for everyone. Some people had worse environments and they weren't able to improve them. I know people that were working in less than ideal situations from their kitchens, their bedrooms, and one guy was working from his bathroom. I don't know how that could have worked. I know people struggled with Wi-Fi issues, having more people at the house than they were used to. And I know my family was annoyed when I was in meetings, and especially when my camera was on when they wanted to walk by. My wife had a few meetings and calls with clients, and we had to navigate through that so that we could both have the space that we need. There could be loud conversations in my house, or TV, or other distractions. Or there was that random knock at the door, that I wouldn't have to worry about if I was in the office. And it was very annoying when it was an unwanted sales call. But I could say, hey, you can't bother me right now. I'm at work. It was nice to have a little separation from home this past week when I drove into the office. So, all this time in the past 500 days, my family was home. But on top of that, we weren't going anywhere due to the pandemic. So it wasn't just a matter of working from home, but it was working from home, but having a sense of isolation, that extra isolation. For me, my wife is also my best friend and I love my kids, so it was manageable to me. However, my kids definitely missed their friends and there was stress with the isolation and trying to do school online and just missing out on other normal activities that we didn't have. This coming year is going to be different as the kids will be back in school and hopefully we can return to normal activities with friends. So this past week, my days in the office were quiet as not everyone is currently in the office at the same time as we're doing the hybrid model. So I did have some great periods of focused time to get some things done. It was also great to see some friends at work that I had only seen on Zoom since March 2020. And no matter what you hear, introverts need connection. So for me, I think this hybrid model is going to work out well. I just recently saw my extended family, which was wonderful. It had been too long. I'm looking forward to seeing other friends as the world continually opens up. So, working from home this past year, it wasn't really a good comparison because of the isolation. So now hopefully I'll get to experience it working from home some days, but with normal activities outside of work. I think that's going to make a difference to be able to really evaluate, what I need. So, I mean, would I want to be home every day and never see anyone in person? That's not my introvert dream. I did it this past year, again I mostly just saw my immediate family and I missed some people in my life and I missed some different activities. Again, we're all different. So what kind of work environment do you want for yourself? For many of us, we are forced into some new experiences. So hopefully now you have some freedom to reflect on the past time and decide what best is best for you and those in your life. So no matter what, if you're working in the office or working from home, hopefully you're fully using your unique gifts and strengths as an introvert and honoring your introverted needs. As you're considering your time management strategy, keep in mind that your unique needs as an introvert. So here's the keys. Be sure to schedule time to plan and prepare, time to focus, time to think, time to recharge, time to dream, and time for fun. So you got to plan and prepare. As introverts, we do better with preparation. Giving thought to upcoming meetings, presentations, and conversations is a great approach for us. Set aside time each week to review what's coming so you can make plans, review agendas, make or tweak that agenda, do some research, maybe have some pre-conversations. I usually close out the week by looking ahead to the next week, looking at my calendar, updating my items to do for the coming week. Then on Monday morning, first thing, I review this again. I've been doing this for quite some time and it's very effective for me. But it's now going to have an extra twist. Is my family is now used to having me at home all of the time. Now I need to coordinate more with my wife as far as who's going to be at home when. She's worked from home for many years now, but she is out and about for different work activities throughout the week. So now I need to add back in that extra time to coordinate with her, and also that time I'm going to need to commute and pack up for the office for certain days. As introverts, we need time to focus. I hear many say that they've been more productive working from home, and I attribute this to finding more time for focus. I think many of you found quiet at home that was not available in the office. Again, this is not the case for everyone, especially those with small kids. Or maybe you have noisy roommates or other noise that you don't have at work. No matter what the situation, focus, especially for introverts, is needed to get things done. What have you done or what can you do to get more focus working from home or at the office? I know it can be very effective to look at your day in blocks of time. This block is for this project, for example. This time is to return emails. This time is for group meetings or one-on-one meetings with clients. Focus is the key. Multitasking is not effective, starting and stopping. It's being able to stay present, work on that thing you're working on. As introverts, we also need time to think. Similar for time to focus, we also need to give ourselves time and space to let our introverted minds do their best work and their magic and come up with great ideas. Of course, we need time to recharge. As I mentioned earlier, my commute was a time that was great for recharge. However, it's not the commute itself, it's the space to myself that's important. So the days that I'm saving time and money, not commuting, I still need to find that space just for me. Also, I need to find regular time throughout the day to get up, walk around, take a break. And Zoom meetings can be just as draining or even more so, depending on the situation. From home, it does get old sitting in the same old spot. So sometimes one of my strategies is I go into the other room with a laptop for a little change of scenery. How do you recharge at home? Is it the same when you're in the office? And then also related, we need some time to dream. As introverts, we have great imaginations. Part of this is coming up with great ideas. But more than that, sometimes it's important just to escape and enjoy our imaginations and dream, sometimes without any particular goals in mind. We need to give ourselves the time and space to do that. And of course, we need time for fun. This past year, it was fun to hang out with just my wife and kids. We definitely grew closer as a family through some tough times. We played games, we watched TV and movies, had some adventures in the great outdoors. And, I plan on continuing all this. As an introvert, some of our fun will be with others. And sometimes we need to just set aside that fun on our own. And as I always say, you're the judge of what you like and what you need. Here's to the next 500 days I hope for you they're full of health and happiness, spent as you like, doing meaningful work and having meaningful relationships and experiences. Take care of your introverted needs. If the amount of time working from the office or home is not ideal, keep working towards that. You'll get there. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to further connecting with you. Reach out at david@quietandstrong.com or check out the quietandstrong.com website. I will also add social media channels to the show notes. Please comment on the social media posts related to this podcast. Send me topics or guests you would like to see on the show. There's so many great things about being an introvert, and so we need those to be understood. Get to know your introverted strengths and needs and be strong.